What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Locks DFS MLB Breakdown. My name is Narang. I'm from LocksDFS.com, and I'll be breaking down this 9-game main slate on DraftKings and FanDuel for Wednesday, April 10th. Before I get into that, though, if you guys could go ahead and leave a like and comment on this video, it would mean a lot for me. It would mean a lot to gain some traction on these videos, but you will also be entered into winning our free season pass of your choice. We announce that winner every Monday, and we just like to give back to the people that are leaving likes, leaving comments, and we'll just pick one of you randomly every Monday video and give back, let you choose a free season pass of your choice. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at ReallyAddy. And if you want to get yourself a pass and join the team, you can do so at locksdfs.com/shop. But with those three things being said, let's get into the slate. It's a really interesting slate. So DraftKings has been using this new dynamic pricing system to start MLB, and I've actually really enjoyed it. I think it's made the product great. The pricing has been super tight, so that it's difficult to get you can't get the pitchers you want with all the hitters you want most slates, at least coming into today. It just seemed like if you want those premium pitchers, you have to get kind of gross with the bats, but if you want those premium bats, you got to take a risk at pitcher. This slate, not so much the case. For some reason, DraftKings just loosened up their pricing on this slate a bunch. We'll get into it, and we'll talk more about that once we get into the hitters a bit more so. So we'll start with the pitchers for now. One really loose pitcher pricing here is Yu Darvish at 7.4K. He's projecting as pretty big chalk as of 122. And I can totally see why. I mean, there's a few reasons to Yu Darvish. The first thing I'll talk about is the team total. Pittsburgh opened at 3-1, has since risen to 3-3. 54% of bets on Chicago. They've moved from minus 155 to minus 170. So there's a healthy amount of line movement in Chicago's favor. And Pittsburgh projected for one of the lower team totals. I believe the second lowest team total on the day. So those two things definitely a great spot. But for Darvish, the real thing comes down to his velo. I mean, to start the year, and this is a FanGraphs article. Let me see who wrote this. Jeff Zimmerman. So all credit goes to him for doing this. I love reading a lot of these FanGraphs articles. It's just a good piece of advice for you guys if you want to become better MLB DFS players. Read a lot of these FanGraphs articles. They're written by people that are a lot smarter than you and me. These guys study baseball for a living. So I think there's a lot of information to be gained from just reading these guys. So this is a little pitch. It just shows the pitchers through their first couple starts. It shows their velo difference. It shows like a change in their pitch mix, if any. And the thing with Darvish is his velo is sitting at around 92.1. And I think it's a really interesting chart pulled up right here where if Yu Darvish is throwing 93 miles an hour, his PERA, which is basically a mix of batted ball profile, swinging strike rate, relative to those pitches. So when his fastball is sitting at 93, he's got a 4.86 PRA, but once he hits 94, it drops almost a full run to 3.64. His ground ball rate increases and his swinging strike rate increases. So the real thing with Darvish comes down to velo. If you believe he's going to get back up to his 94, 95 range, which he was hitting with regularity in spring training, then I think Darvish is an amazing play here at 7.4K. But if you do think he keeps sitting in this 92 mile an hour range, then there is merit to fading him. I think for 7.4K on DraftKings, though, he's projecting as one of the best values on the slate. And so I think you'll see him come in fairly high owned. But there are other options in this range that you can go to. A few of them I'll talk about real quick. First is going to be Frankie Montas. Frankie Montas, a big guy that I believe in personally. His velo is actually up 1.1 miles an hour this year, and he's throwing this devastating splitter a lot more. 2.89 xFIP so far to righties, 3.67 xFIP to lefties. And he's got a good matchup versus a free-swinging Orioles team. They're middle of the pack in the strikeout rate, but falling team total opened at 4.5, have since dropped to 4.1 with some heavy line movement in Oakland's favor, which I am fully on board with. So I think Frankie Montas makes an interesting low. He seems like he'll come in fairly low on, so he makes an interesting SP1 play as well. I don't think you will have to really pay up too much at starting pitcher. You can certainly go with a guy like Syndergaard, but a lot of these high-priced guys present similar risk as a lot of these mid-priced guys. Another mid-priced guy that I think you can see be fairly popular is Brandon Woodruff. He's a bit more interesting. He's going up against an Angels team that, if we filter it by K percentage on the year, they are dead last, which is good. They're first in the league in K percentage, as in like they only strike out 15.7% of the time, and they have a decent walk rate at 9.9%. The big news here is Mike Trout was pulled from last night with a groin strain, and so he's going to miss this game, and so that just makes this Angels lineup go from being a fairly formidable lineup to just garbage. I mean, when you replace a guy like Mike Trout with a guy like Peter Borges, that is as big of a drop-off as you could possibly have in your batting order. And Brandon Woodruff is a guy that generates strikeouts at a pretty prolific rate, 14.29 K per nine to righties so far this season, 10.8 to lefties, 2.58 xFIP to righties, 4.68 to lefties. We are going to see this lineup lean fairly right-handed, with like Simmons and Pujols and those guys in the lineup. So I think that definitely helps Brandon Woodruff here. He's pitching in a really, really pitcher-friendly ballpark in Anaheim. And in addition to that, when Mike Trout gets ruled out, this is what happens to your team total. It drops from 4.2 to 3.6. A 0.6 drop just based on one guy being ruled out. So big fan of a lot of these mid-price pitchers. I think it'll be where I'll be going, a mix of Woodruff, Montes, and Yu Darvish. Moving on to bats, though. Couple spots I want to target. One spot that I've been talking about for the past 3 days, and I'm going to continue talking about, is Seattle. They're going up against a guy, Heath Fillmyer, who profiles as a decent starting pitcher, but nothing that we shouldn't be targeting. Really not that good at all. He struggles with walks. He doesn't strike too many guys out. And he gives up some reverse splits power to righties. At least this is his 2018 numbers. He had a 4.30 xFIP to righties, 4.85 to lefties. Came with a 1.95 home run per nine rate to righties. And that is kind of backed up by his batted ball profile, 44.4% hard contact rate to righties with a 34.8% fly ball rate. So definitely a big fan of these Seattle righties. We've seen their team total jump throughout this early part of the day. They're gone from, I believe they opened at like 4.5, and now they're sitting at 5.6. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, there we go. They opened at 4.7. Now they're sitting at 5.6. So that's a 0.9 jump. The total in this game has jumped by 1. I'm going to be targeting Seattle heavily. And as always, I have to mention the Royals bullpen. Worst bullpen in the league, although the margin between first and second is no longer 1 in the xFIP. It's at least 0.3. But the Royals are just awful. They're calling up guys left and right, and whoever's not performing, they're sending them down. It's a complete mess over there, so I'm going to keep targeting them with the hottest team in the league in Seattle. Look towards these right-handed bats for some power, but obviously don't stray away from the lefties. But for me, big fan of Mitch Haniger, big fan of Domingo Santana. Love those guys tonight. And then another spot I think you're going to want to look towards is these Oakland bats. So like I talked about with this dynamic pricing that DraftKings has going on, some guys are just way too cheap. Some guys are way too expensive. But Matt Chapman, 4.2K, way too cheap, way too cheap. Let's talk about Dan Straley a bit. Horrible pitcher. He's a fly ball pitcher going to Camden Yards, which is one of the worst parks to be a fly ball pitcher in. He had a home run per nine rate fairly similar to both hands last year, 1.48 to lefties, 1.46 to righties, xFIP above 5 to lefties, and just around 5 to righties. And that comes with and that's reflected in his batted ball profile, I should say. 47.5% hard contact rate to righties, 46.5% to lefties. It comes with a 48.5% fly ball rate to righties and 36.5% to lefties. You could even make an argument that his home run to fly ball ratio percentages should be even higher just because of how many fly balls he's giving up with so much hard contact. He could get absolutely smacked around by this Oakland lineup, and they're so cheap on DraftKings. I mean, Grossman leading off 3.8, Semien at 4, Chapman at 4.2, Chris Davis 4.9. Literally all of these guys are in play. Top to bottom. So I'm going to be looking at a lot of Seattle bats and a lot of Oakland bats in my lineups tonight. So with those being said, couple spots to look at for bats. Let's go ahead and do our home run calls of the night. Like I mentioned, Oakland, I'm going to have to go with Chris Davis as my high price home run call of the night. I mean, dude's always swinging for the fences. He does profile, at least throughout his career, he's been a good reverse splits hitter, meaning he hits righties almost, I believe, better than he hits lefties. And now he's got a soft tossing Dan Straley, who's allowed nearly 50% hard contact to righties and 50% fly ball to righties. So I'd feel comfortable picking either one of Chris Davis or Chapman or even Semien for my home run call. But I'm going to go with the most obvious power threat in this lineup, which is Chris Davis. And then scrolling down a bit to find a cheaper bomb. I was hoping, because I haven't looked, that some of these Seattle guys would be cheaper. They're not. But one guy that I did notice when I was looking through pricing last night is Jorge Soler. He's sitting at 3.6K. He's a guy who's always slugged lefties a lot better than he's hit righties. His power versus lefties go way up. For sub 4K, I think he makes a very, very interesting play. But I don't know if I want him to be my home run call. I think I want my home run call. Chris Davis, feel really, really confident about him as a high price guy. And Jorge Soler, I do feel confident with it, but I'm going to go with Eduardo Escobar actually as my low price call. He's sitting at 3.8K. He's a switch hitter that's always hit righties better than he's hit lefties, and he's got a great matchup versus Lance Lynn, who throws primarily fastballs and has gotten waxed by lefties throughout his career. So I love a lot of these lefties in this Arizona lineup as well. I'm going to go with Eduardo Escobar as my low price dong. Just a great fastball hitter versus the guy that throws primarily fastballs. So I will be looking there. So we'll go Eduardo Escobar low price, Chris Davis high price, and that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. As always, please do leave a like and comment if you do enjoy. It really means a lot to me, and you'll be entered into that season pass giveaway. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you win a ton of money tonight, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.